Sean, if you all knew what we know about him, he's the most generous person. He pays for lunch and dinners for his entire staff on radio and TV every single day. So you're just a really good person, Sean, and you've helped all of our careers.
In January of this year, Fox News star Sean Hannity made a bold decision to leave Fox News in New York and relocate shortly after. For months, people speculated about the reasons behind this move, and as expected, rumors began to spread. Many recall the departure of Tucker Carlson from the network and wondered if Hannity's situation was somehow similar. Others concocted various conspiracy theories, trying to make sense of his unexpected shift. However, the real reason behind Hannity's move was a surprise, and it wasn't quite what people had anticipated. The truth was revealed when Hannity, the outspoken conservative host, announced on his Fox News radio show that he was relocating to Florida. This move came as part of the continued trend of people leaving major states like New Jersey, California, Illinois, and New York. During his broadcast, Hannity mentioned, "Tonight we are now broadcasting from my new home, the great free state of Florida." He already owned a property in Palm Beach, situated just north of the Miami and Fort Lauderdale area, and only a few miles away from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. On the January 2nd episode of his iHeartRadio show, The Sean Hannity Show, he informed his listeners that he was now broadcasting from his new residence, proudly referring to Florida as the free state of Florida. Hannity explained that one of the main reasons he decided to move was because of Florida's conservative political atmosphere, which he found much more appealing than New York, where his show had been based for many years. He expressed admiration for Florida's political leaders, including Governor Ron DeSantis, Senator Rick Scott, and Senator Marco Rubio, and stated that he felt very comfortable in the state's political environment. It was also noted that Hannity had purchased his Palm Beach townhouse in April 2021 for $5.3 million, a fact that became public at the time. His decision to relocate mirrored a pattern of other prominent figures in the conservative movement who were using Florida as their base. But why did Hannity specifically choose to move? Here's where things get particularly interesting. Palm Beach has some strict rules that prevented him from broadcasting from his home there. An official confirmed this to the Palm Beach Daily News. According to Margaret Zeidman, the president of the Palm Beach Town Council, the town does not permit businesses to operate out of private residences. The latest property tax records from Palm Beach County also show that Hannity had not registered his townhouse as his main home. This law was enforced so strictly that even the late Rush Limbaugh had to find a commercial space to set up his radio show after broadcasting from his oceanfront estate. While this law has existed, everyone thought Sean Hannity's Palm Beach home was his permanent place of residence, so no one understood why he would be moving. It all seemed like he might change his mind about it. But he finally relocated to Florida. Hannity did not specify exactly where in Florida his show would be based, but what was clear was that he had made the move. In Florida, Fox News stars started to make big moves. And just less than a year after announcing he was leaving New York, Sean Hannity is happily a Florida man living in a Florida mansion. Now at 62 years old, he chose to live in his waterfront property in Manalapan, which cost him $23.5 million. This upscale area is located in Palm Beach County, and according to the Wall Street Journal, Hannity's new home is situated on a barrier island offering beautiful views of both the Atlantic Ocean and the Intracoastal Waterway. The house was last sold for $18 million back in 2021, and since then, it has undergone impressive renovations, including updated bathrooms, new flooring, and impact-resistant sliding windows. The mansion is located on nearly 2 acres of land and boasts a spacious layout of almost 12,000 square feet. Built in 1990, it features 8 bedrooms and 10.5 bathrooms, making it perfect for entertaining or hosting guests. True to Florida's charm, the property includes a swimming pool, a dock with a new seawall, and a lovely balcony to enjoy the warm weather and stunning views. The mansion also features a rooftop observation terrace where Sean takes in the views. Inside, there are great amenities like a cozy fireplace, a bar for entertaining, and a wine room for his collection. Sean Hannity's Florida home is a showcase of style and luxury, featuring wine collection storage and even an elevator for easy access between floors. According to the Wall Street Journal, The house was first put on the market in February for $29 million, but was relisted in October for a lower price of $25.95 million. Online photos show a stylish home with large windows, a kitchen that has space for dining, and plenty of storage. Sean Hannity enjoys water views from almost every room, including the living area, dining room, and home office. Local real estate agents mentioned to the Journal that the house is in decent condition, but some picky buyers might see it as a place to tear down and rebuild. Earlier this year, Hannity put his Long Island home up for sale at $13.75 million. This property sits on almost 6 acres in Center Island and was sold quickly in June for $12.7 million in cash to someone who is a fan of Hannity. It turns out Sean Hannity's decision to move from New York to Florida wasn't sudden or rash. He had actually been planning to do it since 2021. The radio host bought a large house in Florida, measuring 3,800 square feet, back in 2021 for $5.3 million. He initially used it as a vacation spot until he decided to leave New York for good to pursue his idea of freedom. However, it seemed that the fancy house wasn't quite large enough for him to feel completely free. This led him to decide on purchasing an even bigger place in Florida. Now, he owns a new property just a half-hour drive from Palm Beach. The questions on everyone's mind are whether Sean Hannity can make it even bigger in Florida compared to his success in New York, and whether he plans to leave Fox News soon. To answer that, we need to look at how far the Fox News star has come in his impressive journalism career. Hannity began his career in 1982 by starting a house painting business, and not long after, he became a building contractor in Santa Barbara, California. In 1989, while still working as a contractor, he launched his first talk radio show at KCSB-FM, a college station at UC Santa Barbara. The show ran for a total of 40 hours, but Hannity himself admitted that he wasn't very good at it and felt he was quite terrible. Unfortunately, his weekly show at KCSB didn't last long as it was canceled after less than a year due to controversy. During a couple of episodes, he discussed gay and lesbian rights in a way that many found to be quite heated. This led to the university board overseeing the station reversing their decision after the Santa Barbara chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union supported Hannity, claiming his First Amendment rights were being violated. However, when the station refused to apologize publicly or give him more airtime, Hannity decided not to return. After his time at KCSB, Hannity took out ads in radio publications calling himself the most talked-about college radio host in America. This bold move caught the attention of WVNN in Athens, Alabama, where he was hired to host the afternoon talk show. He later moved to WGSD in Atlanta in 1992, taking over the time slot left vacant by Neil Bortz. In September 1996, Roger Ailes, who co-founded Fox News, brought Hannity on board to host a new TV show that was initially called Hannity and LTV-TBD, with LTV-TBD meaning liberal to be determined. Alan Combs was brought in to co-host, and the show eventually premiered as Hannity and Combs. Later that same year, Hannity left WGSD and moved to New York, where he filled in for the afternoon host at WABC during the Christmas week. In January 1997, WABC decided to give Sean Hannity a full-time spot on their station, placing him in the late-night hours. A little over a year later, they moved him to the same drive time slot he had briefly filled earlier. And in January 1998, Hannity was officially hosting the afternoon show on WABC. In their 2007 book Common Ground, How to Stop the Partisan War That Is Destroying America, authors Cal Thomas and Bob Beckel describe Hannity as a prominent figure among those who create strong divisions in political broadcasting. They refer to these individuals as political polarizers who are deeply committed to a specific candidate, culture, or ideology, which clearly separates them from opposing groups. Hannity continued to hold his spot on WABC until the end of 2013. Since January 2014, he has been hosting the 3 to 6 p.m. slot on WBC in New York City. Hannity's radio show is a conservative talk program where he shares his views and beliefs on current events and political figures. The Sean Hannity Show began being broadcast nationally on September 10, 2001, reaching over 500 stations across the country. This marked the start of a major expansion in Sean Hannity's career. In 2004, Hannity extended his contract with ABC Radio for 5 more years, valued at $25 million, ensuring that the show would continue until 2009. By 2006, the program became available on the Armed Forces Radio Network, allowing it to reach a broader audience. In June 2007, ABC Radio was sold to Citadel Communications, but Hannity's success only continued to grow. By the summer of 2008, he signed an impressive $100 million contract for another 5 years. By March 2018, his show was attracting more than 13.5 million listeners each week, cementing his place as a dominant voice in radio. He was ranked second in Talkers Magazine's 2017 Heavy 100 and made it to number 72 on Forbes' Celebrity 100 list in 2013. In January 2007, Clear Channel Communications made a significant move by extending their agreement with Hannity for another 3 years, expanding his reach to more than 80 radio stations. Some of the major stations involved in this deal included KDRH in Houston, KFYI in Phoenix, WPGB in Pittsburgh, WKRC in Cincinnati, Wood in Grand Rapids, WFLA in Tampa, WOAI in San Antonio, WWTN in Nashville, and WREC in Memphis. Hannity's contract with Premier Networks extended further in September 2013, ensuring his continued presence in the radio industry. In early 2014, he also reached agreements to broadcast on several Salem communications stations, including WDTK in Detroit, Wind in Chicago, WWRC, now WQOF, in Washington, D.C., and KSKY in Dallas. Hannity became widely known not only for his radio presence, but also for co-hosting a political show on Fox News called Hannity and Combs. On the show, he and Alan Combs shared their differing political views, with Hannity representing a conservative stance and Combs taking a liberal position. Hannity was also recognized for his conservative views on political and social issues, though he occasionally expressed more moderate opinions. For example, he openly supported birth control, a stance that sparked debates, including heated discussions with guests such as Reverend Thomas Udenauer from Human Life International, who opposed contraception. Hannity even mentioned that if the Catholic Church were to expel him for his views on contraception, he would consider joining Jerry Falwell's Thomas Road Baptist Church. In January 2007, Hannity launched a new Sunday night show on Fox News called Hannity's America. Then, in November 2008, Combs decided to leave Hannity and Combs. After the last episode aired on January 9, 2009, during the final edition, Hannity reflected on the history of the show and its favorite moments over the past 12 years. Following the conclusion of the show, Hannity took over the time slot with his own show, simply named Hannity, which followed a similar format to his previous Monday night program. Throughout his career, Hannity has authored 4 books. His first 2, Let Freedom Ring, Winning the War of Liberty Over Liberalism, 2002, and Deliver Us from Evil, Defeating Terrorism, Despotism, and Liberalism, 2004, were both published by Reagan Books, reflecting his political views and commitment to conservative principles. Both of Hannity's books made it onto the nonfiction New York Times bestseller list, with the second book remaining on that list for 5 weeks. Hannity has mentioned that due to his limited time for writing, he often records his thoughts for his books while driving to his radio show. His third book, Conservative Victory, Defeating Obama's Radical Agenda, was published by HarperCollins in March 2010 and also became a bestseller on the New York Times list. From 2003 to 2010, Hannity organized Freedom Concerts, which focused on country music and raised funds for charity. However, the peak of his career came in 2010 when conservative blogger Debbie Schlissel noted that only a small portion of the funds raised from these concerts actually went to the intended charity, Freedom Alliance. In the same year, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington filed complaints with both the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. The FTC's complaint claimed that Hannity was misleading people by asserting that all the concert profits would go to a scholarship fund for children of military personnel who were killed or injured. Meanwhile, the IRS complaint alleged that Freedom Alliance had violated rules related to its charity status. Eventually, the concerts came to an end around this time. Hannity has also made a few guest appearances in movies and TV shows. He did a short voiceover in the film The Siege, where he played an unseen reporter. Hannity also appeared as himself in Atlas Shrugged, Part 2 and the second season of House of Cards. In 2017, he was not only an executive producer, but also acted in the movie Let There Be Light, which featured Kevin Sorbo alongside him. By April 2018, Hannity had accumulated a significant real estate portfolio, owning at least 877 homes, which he bought for nearly $89 million. Some of these properties were acquired with loans from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and many of them were located in working-class areas. Hannity's approach to managing these properties has been quite aggressive, resulting in a much higher eviction rate than usual. Reports from the Washington Post suggest that his property management team used eviction processes not only to remove tenants, but also as a means of making money. Although Hannity has a stake in over 1,000 properties, his property managers have stated that he does not actively manage them. Hannity's views, much like his presence on Fox News, have gained significant popularity and may influence his position within the network. As we enter the new year, it's important to note that Hannity has been called out by the Washington Post for often sticking to stories that turn out to be wrong and for changing his views over time. The New York Times has pointed out that Sean Hannity delves into a confusing mix of opinions and conspiracy theories. While he doesn't directly endorse these theories like Alex Jones does, Hannity still talks about them in a way that excites his audience and keeps them believing in these ideas. This approach allows him to deny responsibility for the more outrageous concepts he shares. The New Yorker even mentioned in 2019 that Hannity has been spreading unfounded conspiracy theories without facing any consequences. During George W. Bush's presidency, Hannity was a strong supporter of the president's decisions. However, when Barack Obama took office, Hannity shifted his focus to stories that he felt the liberal media was ignoring, such as questions about Obama's birthplace and the blame for the Benghazi attack. He also emphasized breaking developments regarding the investigation into the September 11th assault that took the lives of 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador Christopher Stevens. In 2017, The Washington Post observed that Hannity's primary focus had shifted to supporting Donald Trump, especially in the years leading up to that point. His very public advocacy for Trump seemed to pay off when Trump won the presidential election. While Donald Trump was president for 4 years, it was clear that he was not going to rule as a dictator, imprison his political opponents, or take his critics off the airwaves. However, the question arises, could Trump's strong stances in some way affect Hannity's place at Fox News? That might not happen unless Hannity were to trend for a controversial or questionable action that would force Fox News to let him go, similar to what happened with Tucker Carlson. Hannity has faced considerable criticism for being overly supportive of Trump during the 2016 presidential primaries, often giving him more airtime than other candidates. For instance, Hannity allowed Trump to spread the false idea that Rafael Cruz, the father of Ted Cruz, was somehow connected to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. While Hannity has acknowledged that he leans toward Republican candidates, he has not explicitly stated that he prefers Trump over Cruz. According to CNN's Dylan Byers, Hannity often highlights areas where he agrees with Trump or believes Trump is right, while also defending him or overlooking criticism. The relationship between Cruz and Hannity became quite tense during a heated radio interview in April 2016, when Cruz suggested that Hannity was a staunch supporter of Trump. Hannity shot back, accusing Cruz of throwing accusations at him whenever he asked a legitimate question. In August 2016, Jim Ruttenberg noted that Hannity was not only a major supporter of Trump in the media, but also acted like an advisor. Ruttenberg mentioned that Hannity had been giving Trump advice on campaign strategies for months. Hannity responded openly, stating that he wanted Trump to become the next president, making it clear that he did not consider himself a traditional journalist. Later, in December 2017, he described himself as an advocacy or opinion journalist. Hannity also appeared in a campaign ad for Trump in 2016. He has had disagreements with other conservatives who do not support Trump, including figures like Jonah Goldberg from National Review and Bret Stephens from The Wall Street Journal. While his journalism at Fox News is still ongoing, many speculate it might end soon. When you think about it, the reasons actually make sense. First off, after Fox News fired Tucker Carlson, everyone thought that Hannity would be given Tucker's high-ranking role in the network. This was right after a report claimed that Hannity would take over the widely desired 8 p.m. slot following the surprise departure of the network's biggest star. However, when the network officially announced who would fill the position, Hannity's name was not on the list, putting an end to the speculation. This led many to believe that the network doesn't really see him in as high regard as the public might. As you know, in the corporate world, if the establishment doesn't quickly consider you for the highest ranks, they don't quite value your impact and may believe they can let you go anytime. Instead of Hannity, Fox News chose Jesse Waters for Tucker Carlson's position. A second reason why many think Hannity might soon announce his departure from Fox News, or even worse, get fired from the network, is related to harassment. Tucker Carlson is facing a significant defamation lawsuit from Dominion Voting Systems. But there's more. He's also been sued for allegedly creating a hostile and discriminatory workplace for a former employee. Now, Hannity might be in the spotlight next, especially considering his history of making questionable comments about harassment. Back in 2016, Hannity was very vocal in defending Roger Ailes when several women accused him of immoral harassment. After Ailes passed away in May 2017, Hannity paid tribute to him, calling him like a second father and warning Ailes' critics that he would be ready to confront them in the afterlife. In April 2017, Hannity also stood up for Bill Shine, a co-president at Fox News, when there were rumors about his job being in jeopardy. Shine faced many lawsuits claiming he ignored or even helped cover up Ailes' alleged harassment. Additionally, there was another lawsuit in which Hannity was accused of making a female guest feel small on his show and even offering cash to anyone who would date her. Then, in September 2017, after Bill O'Reilly was let go from Fox News due to immoral harassment claims, Hannity invited him onto his show, which drew criticism from some Fox News staff. During the interview, O'Reilly criticized liberal media groups, and Hannity seemed to relate to him, feeling that both of them were being targeted by those who wanted to silence their voices. Later, in October of the same year, Hannity received significant backlash when he criticized Democrats after many women came forward with accusations against Harvey Weinstein, a Hollywood producer who had supported Democratic causes. People pointed out that just weeks before, Hannity had defended his colleague Bill O'Reilly, who was let go due to several immoral harassment claims against him. With these offenses, many believe it's only a matter of time before Hannity takes his comments a step further by acting on them, and Fox News could fire him. Do you think Hannity's time at Fox News might end soon? And what do you think about his move from New York to Florida? We would love to know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe so you don't miss our next updates. Also, click the next video on your screen to enjoy more exciting content.